stuff. All right, ready when you are.
Okay, very good. All right, so I'm going to start with an energy stock that actually held up pretty well last week, and AR. This had a pretty decent bounce on Friday, and basically um, didn't even test 30, which would have been a big key for it
Oh,
if
this
it
is
had
fun.
fallen that far. So I like this to recover. This is an oil and natural gas stock, and the flow on it is just pretty overwhelming to get back into that 34,
35.
36
Yep.
range. And those are in the 12/16 contracts, and then into January you get 38/40. But near term, getting back into this 34 to 36, I think looks pretty likely.
Yeah, 30, 35, 89 is your 1 year volume profile. Also, your 20-day volume your last two 20-day volume profiles. The that 30 dip you got or whatever right there, that 30 test is the lowest it's gonna go regardless. So I like that. I like this trade a lot. Um, it's kind of riding the 50 on the weekly too. That's the
Mm.
indicator I'd keep on, and we're right there right now. So perfect dip opportunity. 40 kind of would be my take your money unless conditions say so.
Yeah, so because it's a natural gas stock, you would actually see it coming if you want to stay in it, because Boyle would just be flying at that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's really it's a nice indicator that you can anchor to on that for sure.
Oh, so if Bird was in here, I would tell Goose to draw a triangle on this weekly chart. It's got a big old triangle. I don't get. I mean, it's just consolidation, right? You're getting higher lows and lower highs, so you're just really getting consolidation. But for some
Yeah,
reason, they're
yeah,
like, "Look, it did something different. I told you." Yeah, no shit.
right.
Good find, P. I like it.
All right. Oh, good. All right, so next up for me is Dino,
Oh,
and
week early.
there's a little more a little more risk with Dino. I won't really touch it unless I'm in something for January because I just think the 44 could happen, but 44 is not going to happen if oil reverses. So it's kind of dependent on that. But there's a bounce back to 56 to 60 that's potentially here in the January stuff. So that's why I like it. I think we could dip a little more, and if we did that, they would reset back to like 50, 52. Um, but yeah, so this is a little bit dependent on conditions, but it's certainly oversold. Daily RSI is lowest it's been in years, really. So I think they kind of overdid it with this one, and there's some flow for it to bounce back.
Yeah, it shot up through this zone. This thing was below 40 until halfway through the year when you found it. So we had SR flipped off the 40, 42 level right in there. That there is a stronger shelf at the 44, 46 range. Um,
Yeah,
I have 50, 53 really wasn't responsive here. Um, but yeah, 53, 56, and then 63 are kind of where your shelf's at. So I, I like to add this under that, like the 44, 40, 40 range is where I'd like to get this at. If not, you're playing like more of the news, like something happened
so
and we're gonna.
yes, right. But yeah, basically, that's kind of my feeling on it. That I do think it's going to pull back a little more, and but it's going to be might be good. The time to buy it might be midweek, late week. So
Yeah. So
might as well
this
go ahead and get in on it.
I had this on the list last week, and if this would have held 53, I'd have been pounding the table on it this week. But it didn't show strength on what I had, so now I
Yeah,
revert to what you see. And I try to get that across in the room a lot with people that you just put your own stuff up. And even if you don't play it, like let the chart play out and see if you were right or wrong, and you'll understand if the stock's for you or not in the long run. They're not going like Dino's not going anywhere. It'll be here tomorrow. It'll be here next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. All right. So next up for me, this was on your list, ORGN.
What was on your list 2 weeks ago? I watched it.
And so this is a
Yeah, what is it, Pete?
carbon company, and they do like all kinds of packaging and car parts, carpeting, adhesives. Just they make stuff that's in kind of in everything. But this is just getting really really tight here, and flow wise, this is an example where you don't need a lot of flow to really push this, but like when you see it, it's really obvious. And you also have this gap in strikes where it goes from 5 to 7.5, and so 5C, extremely bullish on pretty much all time frames, and then the 7.5C starting to come in for May, which I look for that number like 6 months out. That's about right. So I think we're going to see it break out of this consolidation to the upside. Looking for 650 on it is my target.
Yeah, I got 538, 702. But anything from like 6 to 7 possible. It's just 7 we've tested 3 times in the past. What?
Yeah, big previous winner, and it usually takes off from around this spot when it does that. So
you test 7 once a quarter, I guess. That's the best way to look at it.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, we're in a good spot. One to be patient, and when it gets to 6, for me, there's no reason to leave because it's going to go
to 7
higher than that.
Yeah, this one, just get your sizing right on the share side because it is lower volume. It's more like the 100 share, 200 share play for me, but a little more comfortable in hanging it out, because you can have such a great range on your stop loss. You have 50-cent stop loss on this thing before you lose $100 on 200 shares. So I like it.
Yep. And then switching gears here to tech. Next up for me is Snap.
That's on the list.
And it's just right in that zone. Anything like under 10, I start to pay attention, and then under 950, give or take, it's where I really start to check the flow on it. And this one kind of emerged without me even really doing much, just because of the way my filters are set up. Okay, so contracts I like on Snap: 421 12C and January 10C stand out. 2024 17, which is kind of where I see this going by then. But yeah, $12 is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I got 952. When we get a drop like this on something with not a lot of history, that's a pretty substantial drop. I mean, what was this thing? $50 or something like that? $80.
$80, yeah.
Yeah, when you get a drop like that, the bottom's probably gonna form before a top target will form. And I got 9 right now, and then 14's on the up, but I would follow the strikes before I'd follow that. But you can't go wrong in this. Anything in between like 9 and 950. I mean, at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely like it, and it it'll move on. If any kind of Fed news is positive, obviously it'll go up on that. It also has this TikTok catalyst that's sort of lurking out there as
Twitter buying.
Yeah,
there's all kinds of stuff.
All that.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
So yeah, they were way overpriced at 80, but they'll be around.
Well, to be honest, P, this is a good one in general if you don't have a lot in your arsenal, because this is right now like kind of building its character. down here where it's going to actually trade,
Yeah.
in the 8 to 20 range, or in the 5
Yep.
to 20 range if you want to go a little bigger. So learning where it's going to trade and how it reacts to stuff along the way, I think this is a good time because you're really just getting a lot of fresh data on this one right now. The longer it's sideways down here, even if it is another, let's say 4 to 6 months, will pay off in the long run. But it's a tradable range during that time too, so you can trade it. Just get your positioning right.
Yeah, absolutely. That and that's why that 1750 January 2024 call really stands out to me, because that's very plausible a year from now that we'll be in that, breaking into that range, 18 to 22 or whatever, and that's going to be sort of normal for it. Definitely could see that happening.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, so next up for me is you.
Got a little bit of techie on you, huh? This week.
Yeah, got a couple of them.
Interesting.
All right, so you had this really interesting reaction on earnings where had this huge drop and then a dramatic recovery. It was like a 20% total move in one day, and it gets really interesting around here. I have flow on this to 47
Nice.
in January, which was kind of dramatic. The weekly calls on it at 34.50 and 35 are really bullish. Those would be kind of the day trade targets for it, and not much downside. Really, not much of an attempt to break it down below 32 for now in options. So for that reason, I like it.
Yeah, I got 33 1 year volume profile. Real respectful last few months. 30's kind of the floor, my opinion. If it goes below there, it won't last. Um, Follow the flow. 47. That's a big move. 50% my
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
50% from 30.
And it's the character of this stock to have a kind of oversized move to whatever the market's doing, and so those 8% days are actually pretty common on this one.
Yeah, it looks like it has
All right.
multiple good days in a row too. I like that on these
Yeah.
mid ones. That it's not just one day randomly. It's 4 or 5 days or 2 or 3 days, or 7 out of 10 days up, something like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. All right. So this next one um, caught the absolute bottom on this last month, and took it from a little over 12 to 1550 within the span of about a week and a half. But CLF. So CLF had a really nice pullback on Friday of 4% down to 1550, and this has been moving larger than X, which is the one I usually go for. But this one just has a little bit of a better setup for now. So what I have on this, I have March 21C, and that is the contract that really stands out. Other than that, it's just pushing back to 16, 16, 17C bullish across all time frames, which just shows me kind of a pretty smooth uptrend. So as long as metals don't completely break down this week with the market, I would look for this uptrend to stay intact, and really like those March calls in the low 20s.
Yeah, 15-16 1 year volume profile and 20-34 3 year volume profile lines up perfectly. Um, for me, buy 15 or sub 15. I like it.
Yeah.
It's good stuff here.
And all right, so next up for me is I meant to search this, see if we've been on this before. It kind of sounded familiar. FTAI.
I don't think
This
so.
is a aviation company, deals a lot with infrastructure and equipment. So they're kind of a aviation support uh, kind of deal. They're into rail a little bit as well, so um, ports and shipping and all that kind of stuff. But all right, so what stands out here? I mean, obviously it had this big day on Friday, kind of out of nowhere, and I just see some late day flow that indicates some continuation there. So see this testing 20, and that's in the January 20th calls.
With
So I
17,
think we see a decent move here.
17's both your volume profiles. 22, 25 kind of stand out. I'd like to see 25, but that might be a rolly. I might be rolling this thing up. I haven't
Yeah,
really. I don't think we were on this one before, P. I don't. Um, I'm not familiar
yeah.
with
It
it.
may have been in kind of my secondary notes. Oh yeah. So okay, back in May, it made it into my notes,
In
but
your
it's not
secondary.
something we hit heavily or anything like that. But yeah, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's got good volume. Yeah, yeah. I would look for this to roll up. I do like it. Your 200 and your 50 are coming real close on the weekly, and that's usually a sign a move one way or the other. That this is sitting on
Yeah.
the volume profile, the 1 in 3 year. Usually a safe bet that it's not down.
Yep. All right. So then next up for me is Space SPCE.
Sweet. Was that on the list this week?
Really, any time that this dips under 5 lately, I start to pay attention to it. You can catch some pretty nice moves on that. The I mean the sector overall is a long ways away from being like a sustained kind of long term investment or anything like that, but definitely could see this getting fairly quickly back to 550, and I've got December 23rd, all the way through January 6th. The 550 calls are all overwhelmingly bullish on it. There's not really much of an attempt to push this below 4. I mean, I would like 4 would be a pretty big drop, obviously, but just in terms of how they play the options, there aren't like leaps to 3 that stand out or anything like that. So I think we turn around pretty quickly.
Yeah, your book value is like 380, 360, somewhere in that range. You called it last time. It ran to 5 last time it was in the fours. Kind of one of them old school plays that I used to call when I wouldn't want to give anyone numbers. God, it was so mean.
Yeah,
4 to 5. Figure it out.
yeah,
It's going to be
yeah.
4, and then it's going to go into the 5s. If you can't trade it, that's on you. But there's a catalyst this week. God, who was it? I want to say Japan, but I could be wrong on the country. Is launching moon rockets with SpaceX. Like
Oh, okay.
it's like
Yeah.
happening right now. They're launching out of Florida, which is what I thought was weird that a foreign country is launching out of Florida. But
I noticed that think T-Mobile had SpaceX news, but they actually
it went down.
that's kind of a sell the news thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
they went down based on that.
yeah. That was
And it was a
satellites.
lot for them too. I mean, they
Yeah,
usually
no,
don't have
huge, huge
two
move down.
percent days.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the downside.
Well, and they've been holding. I think that 145 like ironclad, and it dropped right through that too. On good news because they were just launching satellites with them.
Yeah, yeah. That was a fascinating breakdown. So I'm not interested in T-Mus yet, but I might be soon. So I want to see a few things.
Perfect.
All right. So then I've got
Is
we
space your
already have a
is space your favorite? Sorry, is space your favorite space play?
yes,
Okay,
just because of the way the options go on it.
perfect.
All right, so next one, we already have a lot of uranium, but just because of where this is on such a reliable line for me, CCJ.
That's on my list.
Um, so my line is 21 82. And this is just was based on this kind of average true range from months and months ago. And you can see like when you zoom out that it is a spot where this kind of likes to tap and consolidate for a bit. If it dips under it, it doesn't last long. So just a really a nice spot. Uh, Nuclear power has a big push in the news right now as a way to address the energy crisis, particularly in Europe. So there's some some positivity there, and just the flow in general looks really good on it. It's at a spot where I like to trade it. So let me give you some numbers here. All right, so I've got for weeklies, 22 stands out. For contracts later in December, I got 12, 30, 24, and 26. Some activity in March out to 28, but mainly looking for that move back to 24 from here, and it can go much higher if it starts to claim that.
Yeah, I got 22.13 is my bottom. 26.91 is my top. That's a good example of you guys don't have to be exact. I think we're like 30, 40 cents off, me and the professor. But it's the same thing on the chart. Um,
Yeah.
just learning how to identify that and then learning how to trade off that is more important than the actual number. Um, we've completed this channel, what, 4 times? Love it. Maybe 5. Maybe even 5 times looking at the weekly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's reliable. Options are cheap on it too, so that's always a good thing. All right, so next up, really curious about what you see on this one. Amazon.
I'm just kind of waiting for you on that guy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, I just know
uh,
you'll see some stuff on your side that I'm not going to see on the TA side. It's not going to show it on the TA side. Like the only way I'm calling Disney or Amazon before you is if it's like, oh look, Disney's in the '80s, buy it. You know, that's the only way.
yeah, no, absolutely. So for me, it's the sold puts that have my attention because there's really nothing below
80.
88
Oh
in sold
wow,
puts.
wow.
Uh, and that, especially with the week that we're going into, that really caught my attention. Now they very well could. There's time for them to work their way into those early in the week, so I'm definitely going to be watching that. But the puts right now, the sold puts at that level being bullish, and then the weeklies on it and the flow for the next 2 weeks going to 100 and 102 definitely has my attention, especially given what it did a few weeks ago. So that's kind of the short term outlook I have on it.
I have 80, 94 is kind of like the line in the sand for the bottom. So anything off of that is a higher low. 88 would be 10% higher, so that's kind of shocking to me that you're seeing activity there. Um, we really got to get back to like the 120 range. Flip this thing back to bullish. If not, we're kind of figuring out that 80 to 120, which is 50% of if you're at 80 and you go to 120, that's 50% range. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. And so it very well could go back to 100 and then fail again. And but on the option side, that works, perfectly
it
well as a
should work on
trade.
the
So
share side too.
um,
It's 20%.
yeah,
And
right.
you have Amazon. Um, yeah, it's a tale of two. I mean, we're not like flipping geniuses or anything here. This thing either needs to turn around, in my opinion, or it's going to consolidate in the zone. That's the two things. I guess
Yeah.
third, it could drop through this level, but everything is suggesting that's not a possibility right now.
Yeah, I mean, it had, really horrible earnings, digested that, dipped lower, recovered, and it's coming back down. So yeah, it is at a decision point here. So
That was
that was
80. That
why.
was 85, but we still have $5 of thickness to get through on from what I see. Like it's not an easy drop.
Yeah.
through 80, in my opinion. Yeah,
All right, and then
I like it.
last one for me is
Are you gonna put this on there?
Fresh
Yeah.
Pet. Oh yeah, I have it on the hot list. Yep.
Okay, let's do it. It's the first time. Just broke the
Last one for me is Fresh Pets. FRPT. Now
fresh.
this one, when I first put it in collabs, I think it was like $42,
Yeah, I showed
and
it on
just
this a while
it
ago.
made this insane move. There's kind of a nice secondary move on it in the flow that from like the low 50s, um, hit all the way at 68. Didn't really want to short it on that pullback, but was just kind of waiting for it to set up again, and it is, and so I'm looking for it to recover into the 64 to 68 region, all mostly January and March activity at those strikes.
Yeah, I got this thing back to 60, like for a floor, like 68. And I expect you to see like 85s.
There is some, yeah, there's some like in June. There's some 80s, ADC.
Yeah, I mean, because it's once you confirm this level, and on my end, it's 78, or excuse me, 68. Once you confirm that, this thing's taken off, and then yeah, 60 would be this is a good setup, P, all around.
Yeah, they're
It's a lot below.
as they're into like pet food, pet treats, kind of. That's their pull bag.
Yeah, I like it. I like it because yeah, I like this 68 is kind of the spot. I'm just gonna put one line right now until I know a little bit more. Man, and that seems low. It really does.
Yeah. So, what's your take on recessionary spending on pets? It doesn't seem like something that people really
Rich
cut way
people.
back on.
I just
Like
think
people are still going to spend on their pets regardless.
okay. So I think the way the breakdown works for companies, because like in the 80s, a niche company was like real hard to do, right? Like an independent
Yeah,
shoe store or something like that at the mall or like the model store. Those are real hard to pull off. Like you had to have the market within your market to make that work.
yeah,
And nowadays you don't really need that. So if you're like just a pet guy, you only need like let's say 5,000 strong customers. And you're going to survive. Not be profitable, but you'll like survive the year, right? There's 330
right.
million people in America. And if you have that size of a market, I mean, if you can't piss in the wind and get 5,000 customers in a bucket, you're no good. Like you're just no good. So I think that is what keeps a lot of things going in just that idea, right? Because you're seeing that even
Yeah, yeah,
on a grander scale. Bigger companies do that too. Like Yeti, great example. You don't really see them in many stores. They just wait for you to buy and they ship it to you. So there's just saving so much money. I mean, their percentages on their product are ridiculous. As long as you're buying.
yeah. And like pet food, a lot of people are on subscriptions for that
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, you're not
And
turning
it's
that
just yeah,
off. You're not turning that
yeah,
off. And there's enough, for lack of better terms, well to do people that have their purse dog or whatever,
yeah.
that just take care of it like a kid. And
Right, right.
it's just, yeah, it's just like a new age child for a lot of people. And they're not going to cut that back. They would probably cut their shit back before they cut their dog shit back.
Yeah,
But they have a lot of stuff, right? They got like, well, I'll turn off Netflix and keep Disney and Amazon and Paramount and Fubo. But I'm not
yeah,
getting rid of the
yeah,
dog food because they have so much stuff. So it's just high priority, high margin, high demand products. I like Chewy. Chewy's my go-to. Not for pet, for
yeah.
the stock
Hmm.
side. For the stock, I just think it's
Yeah.
resilient. Um, Chewy's the Build-A-Bear for pets.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is,
Like
in
it.
my opinion.
All right, cool. So that's my new stuff. So we can go through
Yeah, the hot.
the old list.
I remembered this time. And let me get
Yeah.
my. All right, perfect. So ACIs first. I still like this. We kind of went flat last week.
um, yeah, it's kind of weird down here. I don't know. I don't quite know what to make of it, but so the flow on it. I got 24s
Yeah.
for 120. This is a monthly option, so that's kind of
Okay.
what you're limited to.
Oh yeah.
So I got 24, 25 for 120s.
I just see what do you want to how I want to say that? I just see like they kind of got to keep the price down so if when the merger news comes out they get a 10, 15, 20% pop. And that's
Yeah,
I see it. I have 26, but 24 is the same. I mean, we're right there. Strikes are weird. They want theirs to go deep in the money. The 24 would make sense if we went to 25, 26.
yeah, absolutely.
But
That'll be what they
I
do.
think we're just waiting on that news to come out, and they're keeping. I mean, look how sideways it's moved. It make no sense. So I think
Yeah, I
definitely,
know.
definitely,
And the whole drop was kind of weird. They did this big div, dividend, massive dividend payout of like $11 or something.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah. Just a lot
So
going on there. So stay on that for sure. I think we're super
yep.
early. AMRS.
All right. So I'm gonna give up on this one if it breaks down below 150, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Sold puts are really strong at 150, so I think we're in that zone. Ideally, to me, we get back into our old setup where the 180s to 220s start to hit. That's kind of what I'm looking for to happen. But yeah, you can try it down here for sure.
Yeah, I still like it. I think it kind of goes with the market a little bit. And last week wasn't the best week for it. We are on the
Yeah.
underside of that 180, 177 level. If it rejects there, you scale out and try again. You don't hold it for the next run. Um, but
Right.
you
Right.
play like the 160 to 180 now. Um, Rejection. It's called backside trading. Baba.
Yeah, still like this a lot.
Me too.
It didn't come all this way to not test that 101 number. That's the one that stands out in the flow.
Um, ab-
105, 106 are probable too if it gets to that. So still
uh,
like China.
Absolutely nailed this in the hot stove rework. So I do like that. It respects what we offer, or respects the information we put out real well. So um, reclaiming the trend line for me right now is key.
Yeah,
Beyond Meat.
I'm gonna take the win on that. Really, just I said like at around 1380, it dipped exactly there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ran all the way to 17.
Yep.
Um, could stay active, but uh, just not interested in it. It's sort of in the middle of my spots here. So
Yeah.
if something happens in notes, I'll bring it into it.
Perfect. You know my long term thesis on that. Um,
Yeah,
Buy when it's as much as the sausages. Can.
yeah, yeah.
Can.
I'm gonna dish this for now.
Perfect. CDE.
I yeah, I think metals could have a good week, and this one in particular, it can make pretty explosive moves. If you can get it in the 320s, that's a little better than where it's at right now. But if you were to get monthlies on it, it doesn't really matter that much. The big key is I don't think this is going to break down. So I like it to stay above 320 or thereabouts, and still looking for a move to 4 on it.
Perfect. And I have the 350 pivot right up there. It's kind of worked around. Um, I guess this is going to be a topic in general. Weed. Is this pullback because they're not going to pass anything, or market conditions?
Well, I think it has some more downside, but only to
Okay.
around 250 or so.
Okay. So we were probably
And
a week late pulling these off,
yeah, yeah,
in my opinion. Um,
yeah, we'll come back for them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We should have just pulled them off last week. That's on us, but it's all good. Coin.
Yes, I'm on this because it had this really nice rejection at my lowest line is 47.40, and back hitting all time lows again. Sentiment sucks on it, but this is going to have a huge range this week, and the upside is $50, and downside is like 35. So I'm not especially leaning one way or the other, but I just think that it's just going to have such a great range that I do want to keep our attention on it.
Perfect. The 30, 28, 30 is probably where I'll flip more bullish on coin. Um,
Yeah,
Especially depending on market conditions, but that's close to their book value. I don't think it knows where it wants to be right now, at least from what I see. So it's kind of just lost in the wind. Reminds me a lot of Rivian on the way down. Um,
yeah,
it really does. So, but we're close. We're $10 off, which I know is still 25%, but we're $10 off of that level where I'd really start being interested in it. Share, and that's strictly share side.
yeah.
Did I get it on there? Yes. Kron, well, that's weed, I assume.
Yep. Yeah, we'll get rid of
Crocs,
that.
Crocs. How's your end
Let me see
looking?
what I got here. So the Crocs kind of it has that look to me where it's gonna
Yeah.
hang around and then eventually break to the upside. I've got 110C on 120. So I got 105 and 110 stand out, and the sold puts at 95 are pretty bullish as well. So kind of looking like it's gonna consolidate around here for a bit and then push higher.
That's why I like it for that reason. I don't know if you want to keep it, or hot stove it
Yeah, I'll
maybe,
keep it
or
mainly because we're coming up on a week where the monthly options are expiring and time to start thinking about January. So for something like this, where you have a good feeling it's going to break higher, but might bounce around for a week, that's a good spot for those January calls.
perfect. CS.
Yeah, I do. I like CS. So let me give you what I got on it. It's just way too low down here.
Yeah, for me it's that
Um,
330 is huge pivot right now, um, but it's not going to stay
so
down here.
this has really weird strikes, but it's 4.9 C 127.23. So I see this getting back to that 455 level,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is a really nice move from down here.
I have
Even
429.
back to four, it would be great.
Yeah,
And yeah,
the weekly kind of shows what they're trying to hide. Can't hide on the weekly. Can't hide it on the weekly. Um, and you're just getting a higher low, but they want these shares cheap. Those candles
yeah,
are they're the biggest two candles of like the last 10, maybe even the last 15, but the price is being held down. Um, so yeah, it just seems like someone wants shares. They're gonna take as many as they can before the move. Um,
yeah.
Perfect. Carvana, assuming you're staying on this at this point.
Yeah, I am. Which is so interesting how the hot list works sometimes. I mean, like, do we go into the hot list thinking something's going to drop 40%? No, but it's you know, it's Carvana, and it's not entirely surprising that it would do that. But the bounce back on it and the way that they pile in um, to these weeklies to push it back up is just really dramatic. I put in notes. I'm like, it's probably gonna test 5, and it was 350, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
2 days later it
yeah.
does it.
No,
So
we hit the same thing at the same pretty much like 15 minutes apart in
yeah,
live trade and like live during the day. Like there's no way in hell this is not going to test 5. And I think it went to 480 the first day, and then the next day it was like 6.
yeah,
But you
yeah.
can't. It's
It's
not gonna hold. I mean, those don't hold. Those are just like you. It's what we talk about the reaction. It just has to naturally do that. Like you can't push water across the bathtub and it not come back at you. It's just when you push that much volume one way. I mean, unless something crazy happens, like we're going out of business tomorrow. But this was like we're not
yeah.
filing bankruptcy news. We're not gonna file it. That's what the news was. So.
No, I know exactly. And there's so many eyes on it, and
Mm-hmm.
retail just gets in their head that like, oh, we're going to squeeze this thing. And whales, they take advantage of it in both directions. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of know what you're getting into here, but huge range.
Yeah, it's got exactly as I
Can
said. It's
get
got a
20% in a day easily.
it's got a huge range to figure out
Yeah.
now. Dino.
And my
Oh, sorry,
number
sorry.
my number is 8 for what the options are saying. So I think it could potentially do that.
That's your volume profile 772 and 840. Makes sense. Dino.
Oh yeah, I already had it on here. That's funny.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'll keep it in. Yeah,
I told you.
I'd added it, but I forgot it was already on
I
here.
told you. I was a week early.
Yeah.
DraftKings, which is in my notes and on the last week's list. But I just put it in my notes because I wanted to talk about 14 and how big it was. I'm curious if you see
Yeah,
the same.
that's my current thinking on it is that 14 is likely to hold, and I say that even though it's a little under 14. But what I mean is it's a magnet, and if you could get it at like 1370 or something like that, you're kind of sniping an entry at that point. But I like anything under 14 is good to me, and flow 18 and 20 stand out in the flow on it still for February, March.
Nice. My line, 1394.
Oh wow, it's right there. Yeah.
And I've had that since. Well, I had that when we were saying buy 1280 and it needs to flip 14. I think that was back in October. Yeah, into October. ER
Yeah.
dip. So, very respectful. We have a trend line on that chart too, and we're on the right side of it. This is what I forgot the other trend line chart, but this is what we want. We need that other trend line chart to start looking like. I think it's DocU. I could be wrong. DOYU. Great Chinese play. I missed it, but man, good stuff, Pure P.
Yeah, just you love those where something new pops up and hits right away. I'm gonna take the win on it, but I think kind of like Momo, it's worth paying attention to. Could very well try to make a move to 2. Just the setup I saw played out. So
Perfect.
when that happens, I'll take it off.
Oh, it's on my radar. You'll know if I see anything. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
Ego. Oh, El Dorado. I got 930. Are we going to continue there, or?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I do like. I want to stay on gold this week, and this one's a pretty strong in the flow. 10C, 120, 10C stands out.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. A little more than the line, even. F-Cell.
I'm going to take F-Cell off for now.
Okay.
If it dips to 3, it's really interesting, but nothing imminent on my end.
I'm for cleaning it up a little bit, so I'm with you. If you trade that and it's a winner for you, stay on it. It's not a bad place, not a bad stock. Just the range is pretty tight to make it really, really easy, in my opinion. IMEX.
Um, yeah, so I still have the same thing on IMAX where I think it's gonna break through 18 and go to like 22. So I like it.
Okay. Candidate for hot stove.
Yeah,
All
yes,
right,
for sure.
write that down over here. I like to get 2 or 3 of those a week. I think those worked. It was pretty good what we did, and we'd be looking like geniuses if we would have done this when we first um, were on
Right.
IMAX. If we were first on IMAX. Um, one more, sorry, notes and stuff. LPRO.
A little boring. I'm gonna take it off. Not much
Perfect.
happening.
MDB. Nice stub. My God.
Oh yeah. So
Oh yeah.
this one
Oh yeah.
was kind of the earnings beat. It kind of go either way on the earnings, but so once that happened, had a really nice IV flush pullback, and then it just took off again. Really, kind of bodes well for the SaaS stocks in general. Played snow off of this. Gonna just kind of
Dub.
take the win here, and I'll keep an eye on it. Once it gets through 200, it's very plausible to see this go back to like 260 or something like that. So it has some really nice gaps it could potentially fill, but I got the move I wanted, so I'm just going to take it off for now.
Love it. Good stuff, P. MGM.
I see this maintaining an uptrend and looking for them to walk it up to 38 to $40.
I liked it to 40, and I like the sector. Let's stay with it. MRO.
So this because there's nothing in particular about this to keep it, I'm gonna take it off. I will say that recovery in the sector bounces this back to 28 to 30 very fast. So um, if you trade it, stay on it. Oxy's better, and MRO is a little cheaper. That's kind of how I look at these two.
Perfect. MSTR. So for me, still would be a short play off of this 202.
Yeah. I'm looking for this to drop 180 to 160, somewhere thereabouts.
So this should be
Um,
the red one on the hot list.
yeah, yeah.
what
It's
what do you think
it's just
about?
not feasible for this to go back to 280 right now, in my
No.
opinion.
What do you think about putting this on the hot stove as a downside play? Is it that good?
No, I like it. I just it's been such a big winner for me. Those fat red candles on
Oh yeah.
early November. I was all over that. So
I think we
yeah, I
have
like
that.
it.
I think we have that again into the. You said 180, but I see like the 170, 160s.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I said 180 or 160. That's my
Oh, perfect.
that's my
Yeah, I
thinking. Yeah,
like this as a
yeah,
downside.
yeah.
Nog, not the egg kind.
Yeah. Similar deal. I like
MR.
the new oil stuff. I added a little better,
Okay,
but this could also recover and do pretty well. But in terms of setups, I'll do my new stuff.
perfect. Ollie,
Uh, Pretty brutal
EBR.
reaction to earnings. Decent bounce back to 52. Could find some strength here. I'm gonna just take it off for now, but I'll be back on it as the flow takes shape.
I got 52.75 and it throttled that Friday. If it stays below that, you're going to form a new channel down here. Until you get
Yeah,
above that 52, 53 range, I don't think it's a safe play. Um,
yeah,
you're better, and the reason like buying close to the line I don't like because there's just more downside if it rejects. If you buy this at 46 and it rejects 52, you still had a trade, but trying to buy it right under a level, I just don't really like. Um, yeah, so always read the report. Did you read the report? I didn't read the report.
no, I didn't read that one yet.
I will though. I'll look into that for sure, just in case they're wrong. PAAS.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep some silver on here. This ads under 17 to me are good. Um, Likely to break into like the $18 to $19 range.
This made my list on the inside bar on the weekly. This is this guy right here. I like this is the kind of inside bar I like on a weekly. I don't like them when they're super high or super low and tight. I do like them when they're still a third or half the candle, especially to the upside. Um, yeah, I like it a lot. I still think 16s are perfect ads for the move to what 22 is what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. I don't know if that's what you got on your end, but silver.
Yes. So yeah, silver. For silver to just kind of a recovery of silver puts this in the 18 to 22 range. So
Perfect.
yeah,
Perfect.
I'm with you on that.
Very interested on this guy. It's PTLO Portillo's. No, I love him. I'm right here on my 18 level. Again, this is another stock that doesn't have a lot of history, so the flow should dictate more things. But 18 to 22 is the
So
channel I got, P.
I got 120, 22.50, 217, 25.
Yeah.
Monthly options. So that's where you go. And these whales that are buying these, those two are exactly the same price. They're $20 calls, about $22 calls, and they're buying them both at once. And when they do that a month apart, that to me is a roadmap for an uptrend. And then in fact, at 120, I mean it's 120.20, then 120.22.5, and then 217.25. So you can just sort of see where they're wanting to push this thing. I like it down here.
Your Buffett.
No real no downside in the flow either. So good spot.
Buffett's in on this one. He doesn't talk about it a lot, but it's in his portfolio, and it's not enough for me, but it's a like 30%. If I need to get to 100%, if he's buying, it's a 30% bump in the catalyst for me.
Yeah, I was iffy at 20, but like it a lot more at 18. So
perfect.
I think good.
Roblox.
Yeah, so this is I added you, and I see the same kind of setup with Roblox. There really isn't much of an attempt to break this down under 3150 in options right now. That'll change if news is bad, but like this for quick move back to 36, potentially a move to 40, 44.
31.47 lower line, 39.94 upper line. Lines up too well. RLX.
Yeah, and
sorry. You got something else on Roblox?
Oh yeah, I mean it's just you'll see people on this late. Like it'll hit 36.
Yeah, and they'll be talking about 40.
Flow traders will be talking 40.
40,
so,
yeah.
But we can catch a bigger move. All right, RLX. Okay, so
this is such a good one.
yeah, just amazing movement on this. Let me see what it's got in store for us. This still is pretty.
Some left.
It's a consumer defensive stock, and those are always interesting for the Chinese plays to me.
It just really hasn't
3 and 3.5 C for January, March, 7.5 C for June.
Yeah,
kind of crazy, but yeah, this looks like it's going to stay pretty active.
Let's keep it on the radar just because it's so new.
Yeah,
I'm not really even looking for weakness until this thing gets to that 350 level. I was gonna say 4, but the flow says 350, so it lines up as well. You're thick from 4 to 6, but yeah, after that, sky's the limit. Run.
Yeah, look, I mentioned in our previous session, Enphase had
Mm-hmm.
a pretty significant pullback, but maintained its bullish outlook in the flow. So we're like, what I mean by that is the puts that came in were scalps. They're not building up a short position. Same deal here. 28 is a really good spot to add this, if for nothing else, to retest that 32 level. But what I actually see is I see this breaking into a test of that 38 level, and this is all in the January calls. So 32C, 36C, 38C.
Okay. The only thing that scares me on this thing is your volume profiles are 23, 24 ish.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, the 30 to like 45 range is kind of, I think, where we should be, where it should be
Right.
playing.
So if it loses 28, which definitely could happen, I let it go. I wait for 24. We reset, and then I think we have another good setup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sand.
A little quieter. I'm gonna take it off, but
Okay.
I do like gold overall, so just keep an eye on that.
SD.
SD is probably going to pull back a bit more to like 16. So I think it's going to be good. Goes with the sector, but again, I don't have a particular reason to keep it specifically, so I'll take it off.
Perfect. Yeah, I got 1650 to pull back. We'll check it next week. Snow.
Quickly becoming one of my favorites, which I think people can see. I'm kind of posting it every day. It's right in the middle of a zone for me right now between 140.49 and 149.51. I don't have a lot of stocks where I have specific numbers like that, but when I do, they're usually they work pretty well. So if things go bad this week, it's going to probably check back down to 135, at which point you could easily flip that. Intraday, if we get a nice flush in the morning to that 140, I'd look to play that. If it spikes to 150, I would look to play a rejection off that. FMO, all the Fed stuff this week could easily push this into a new setup where 150 turns into support. That would be my upside. Downside on this absolute floor is 125.
Okay. You want a notes or hot list?
Notes, just
Okay.
because it's in the middle of my zone.
Perfect. I like where this is at, except for the way the daily looks. Other than that, I like it a lot. I'm 131 ads, so that 130, the low 130 sounds like the spot you really want to be messing with this in general.
Yeah.
SoFi.
I'm disappointed in SoFi. I'm gonna let it go for now.
Yeah, under 5, it's trouble. ST.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you were to add shares here and say I'm going to hold these for 10 years, I think you're fine down here. But you're trying to trade this, it's a very frustrating stock right now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
100%. STNG.
Kind of interesting that it's consolidating kind of a step above what maybe I expected. And so what I mean by that is I kind of thought if we were going to pull back that it would go to like 48, which it touched briefly, came back. Just kind of too strong to take off. Just the flow keeps piling in a couple bucks above where it's at.
Okay.
Over and over and over again. So I think it's just going to keep grinding up.
The trend's still there. Perfect buys off the 50. Perfect buys off the 50 on the daily when it happens. The U's, we'll just put them together. The first time they both didn't do well. Usually one of them do really well.
I think I'm keeping them. Uranium's just looking very strong. In terms of which one is better in the flow, the UUUU7C stands out for January. So it just kind of has the most obvious target But they'll both go if the sector goes.
Now, would you say you're stubborn here?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I'm definitely stubborn on uranium right now.
Okay.
So I put a tweet about I thought uranium's going to reverse soon, that I plan to return to as a
Oh, you're stubborn and you
throw it up.
tweeted. Hold on, let me write that down.
Yeah, yeah.
Stubborn and tweet. All right, you got it. That's 2 stars. VTNR.
I'm very interested to see what happens at 550 on this, but that's not a reason to keep it. It's a reason to add it next week, maybe. That's how
Yeah,
I would put it.
yeah. I played this one on the other side of that, and I think I didn't get into it till like 6.5 after it kind of showed the trend reverse. That 880 or $9, whatever you want to call it, is definitely a
Yeah,
strong level. But there's enough range to kind of let it turn back around, in my opinion. Um,
exactly. Yeah. So that's they haven't pumped the brakes on it. The 5P is still pretty bearish. So I don't think they'll get there, but they'll play the downside and cash those out on the way down.
yeah, yeah.
So
For me, it's
yeah.
just easier to play the uptrend with a little more size because
Yeah.
there's enough range from 650 to 8, even 650 to 9. Perfect. Win.
A lot of strength in this trend that doesn't appear to be buckling yet. 82 is my floor right now. And given that's pretty good given where it's coming from here. So it's another one of those where it's kind of like it didn't come all this way not to at least try for 95 or so, 95 and 100 C stand out in January. So I think it's going to continue.
Yeah, I think definitely think it's gonna continue. Um, is that where you see it long term? Not long term, you know. Is that what you said?
Yeah, right. So
The next consolidation zone. Do you see that happening up there, or the top test at 105, or
yeah, 100 is going to be like the flow magnet
okay?
number, and so goes anywhere from like 88 to 120,
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
I have that higher number on my end, so that's why I was asking what you really see
and
there.
I mean this whole sector just kept going. Milko is the one that just really stands out.
Jesus
Yeah,
flipping Christ,
I can't
P.
even believe it. Like I feel like I got a great move on it,
I did
right?
too, and I didn't get nut. I didn't get
But
a quarter of it.
exactly right. Yeah,
I played it. No, that's what pisses me off is I played this thing off my lower level, which like was 550, right? And
yeah,
you take this like
right.
super good move to like 6.5, 7 in a weak market, and then it just takes off on you. I mean, you
I
do
mean,
get pullback, but
100% in shares. Are you kidding me? Shares.
yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, even the $1.50 was good. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a great move, and then it went more than 100%. I had a 550 to $12. Oh, I guess it's 11,
Yeah.
but
Right.
almost got a little squeezy. It seemed like. Yeah, no, that was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
If anyone stayed in that, yeah, no, it was good stuff. All right, you still like that sector? Because I still like that sector. I think there's a lot to go.
Yeah. So I do, and it's I kind of try to look for what I think can be resilient even if the market pulls back, and casinos and resorts stand out
Yes,
for me.
I agree. All right, let's get into my stuff. You didn't watch the video, I can tell, so I won't ask. Airbnb.
Oh yeah.
That was just a little jab, P.
You know, I know.
It's all right. Don't
The
take it
videos are
that.
good. The
Don't
videos are
take it
good.
that way. Don't take it that way. I just take
I
it. I just say it because it makes this process right here mad quick
yeah.
because you would just be like those three.
Right. Right.
Those are the three. The rest are shit. All right, let's go.
So Airbnb has a lot of neutral flow, so the whales are a little bit undecided. But in those situations, I kind of lean towards, is it closer to the bottom? So my option floor on it is 92,
Yep.
and could definitely see a move to like 100 to 104, given what I'm seeing on the strikes.
Yeah, this chart just reminds me of kind of like the Disney chart. I mean, we might be down here for a while, but it's 8 to 10% range. I don't know what that
Yeah.
does. I don't know what that does on your side. Kind of tradable on my side if you do like the stock. Um,
Hmm.
but
No, yeah, the options do well on this one.
yeah, so your call here. If
Yeah, I think so.
let's do it.
Grab it.
And a lot of this here, and not only for you, but just in general for the people that do chime in on this is like even in the notes, I put them all out there just for like the awareness, right? Like
Yeah.
you might not have looked at Airbnb in a month, and this is probably the time to look at it. Um, yeah, yeah. I just
Yep.
think that's important, staying on charts. So whether we add
Yeah,
them
for
or
sure.
not, it's who cares. This is a new one. I to be honest, I didn't check on the option side, so let me do that real quick. It does have the twos and fives, but I like this chart because of the trend ACCO. I got sevens and
Um.
eights from here.
Oh yeah. Interesting. Just not enough volume on the option side to really
Okay,
have a take on it.
okay. I was kind of trying to find some trendy stuff. Um, I
Yeah.
think this one is in that too, but it's on my list. Um, it's been on my list for a while. The AHT Ashford Hospitality. We're at 552.
Oh yeah.
Volume profiles are ridiculous. 7.5 and 14.
Let's
It's
see.
a two. This is a 2 and a 5 or though 2P, so it might not.
So yeah, I've got March 15C stands out. That's interesting.
It's 14 volume. Is it strong or should we just kind of keep an eye on it?
It's I wouldn't call it strong, but it's notable for flow to pop up out of nowhere at that level. So,
I'll put notes for now. This is
yeah.
kind of like an ASRT, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, Not that I think this one. I was strong conviction in ASRT going to 4. I'm still learning this one, but I like the chart location. So, bros, 32, 59, 37, 38, whatever you want to call it. Um, been here for hours.
Yeah, I always look for opportunity with coffee, get back into it. Let's see.
Starbucks ain't coming back. We nailed that one. We absolutely nailed that one.
Yeah.
88.
32 is a strong sold put level, and it always has some activity to 40. So, um, repeat of this channel seems probable.
All right, let's add it. CCJ, we did. Cook. Got anything on there? This 3 looks pretty strong to me. This thing gets real squeezy up to about 5, maybe 475, but
Is this a healthcare stock?
no, it's Cook. It's a Traeger.
Oh, Cook. I thought you said Hook.
Oh,
Okay.
Hook is a healthcare stock.
Yeah.
Weber also has earnings this week, so I'd rather play the sympathy. Let me throw that out there too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Weber's a good example of another squeeze people were late on.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
real late.
yeah, not enough activity on Cook for me to
Is it
have
is
conviction on it.
it bearish
Um,
or just
no, it's just low, like volume of like 9,
okay?
open interest 75. So they're just not
No
they're
interest.
not in it yet.
No
Yeah.
interest. Okay. Perfect. Disney 92. We're at the 92s. 103. You should have my lines on this thing. We've been all over this goddamn
Oh
channel.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
The weekly is nothing but red candles, but it won't break our range.
So they're doing that thing where they're selling deep in the money puts, like 160 and 130, to control some shares on the cheap, which is a bullish signal, but not heavily so. But it's something it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And then the other thing they're doing, 100C stands out on the shorter time frames, which is what I do look for. So overall, I do like the setup.
This week? That's
Yeah,
good.
these are
Okay.
weeklies. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's do it. We did DraftKings. Donut. I think we pulled back here. Yeah, we pulled back to that top of that channel, 440. It made it all the way to 16. So if we have that again, um, this would be the support and resistance flip, in my opinion.
So a lot of concentration of calls around 15. So I definitely think it will probably stabilize around here. Would like to see more 17 calls.
Yeah.
Not really seeing those yet, though.
Not enough
So we
range.
might be a little early.
Yeah, not enough range. I like it. Perfect. We're always early. What do you mean we might be early?
Yeah.
Fubo. What do you think about Fubo down here? I got 239. It's in trouble. Don't get me wrong, but it's real trouble if this doesn't hold. Just curious what you see over there.
Yeah. So let me see here.
But this is where it ran from. This is the level it was at before it ran to 8.
Right. So yeah, three C is still pretty bullish on it. Like, for a couple weeks out. It's like 12:30, and not really a lot of push to get this to 2. So, if I were thinking that the floor was just going to drop out from underneath this, I'd expect 2P to be a little more active. So I think it actually is in a pretty good spot.
Let's do it. MU 54.60 is my line. 70 is the top. But even if we go high or low, it's 65. So 55, 65 on each side, I guess is what it would
Yeah,
be.
flow's kind of neutral on it. I think 56C is the one that stands out in the weeklies. So in terms of like a opt-in day trade, you could definitely play it to that. My memory of this one was criticism of it breaking 100, and then
it did not.
It clearly did not. So
we do. Have...
So I not overwhelming as a setup for me.
Yeah. We do have ER next week, so if it starts popping up, throw that out there.
Yeah,
ER on the 21st, because there's some support here, so I'd expect if you see 60s being shit, but we could probably play after the report, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Next, 450 to 8. We've pretty much been at this 450 for most of the year. With runs to 8. If you have 6s, I'd take it.
So this is one of those. The strikes go 7.5 and 10.
Yeah.
Do have a lot of bullish activity at 5, which is a pretty good sign. Not much of an attempt to push it lower, but if they were to try to push it lower, it'd have to be 2.5, or 5P. So yeah, it's a little harder to read in that respect.
Yeah. I'll just stay this one for notes. I think that's what we did last time too.
Yeah.
I'm slowly getting that list of just put these in notes because Professor can't do them. Like they're too small, right? It's just I can't flow read these 9 contracts.
Right.
ORGN we did, PTLO we did. Where are you at Stitch Fix?
I like Stitch Fix. So I currently an investor in it. I have some shares in it. Let me see. Yeah, all about the sold puts to me at 4.
Ooh, okay. Let's stay on
Just kind of
this.
clear as
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're not really going to let people make money on it to the downside,
yeah.
and that builds up and leads to pretty explosive move. 455
Yeah.
coming up
Yeah. And there's
within a couple of weeks.
range on the chart 6 to 8 easy with any kind of catalyst, any kind of good news.
Hey, on the kind of on this topic, did you read the Lululemon
The,
surplus inventory?
yeah, I read. Oh, I read. Okay,
Was
I said I read like the headline, 1.7 billion. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You know what my wife
that
said when
for
I
the
told her?
larger.
My wife said when I told her that, she's like, "Yeah, their damn pants are fucking expensive. They're like $80 leggings." So if that's how they're doing their inventory, like what they'd sell it for, not what they put into it, it makes sense. I don't think they spent $2 billion on inventory and it's sitting there.
Got you. Yeah.
I think that's
Um,
like the bottom line hit. But still, it's a lot. Don't get me wrong. It's
so people are still buying leggings, but they're going to Target or something.
yeah, because they're like
Like,
60, $70.
yeah,
I mean, you can't. You're only like again. I said it in Market Cast, right? Like it's just this generation. When it's the new hot thing, they will pay whatever for it. But when it
yeah,
goes away, that doesn't hold up. Like these are $20 leggings, not 80. It just is what it is.
yep.
Crocs is probably a good example of that too.
No, definitely. Yep.
Um, do you have a top end on this P yet? Not yet. Just the 4 action, which is, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, it's the flow is completely dominated by those sold puts, which is just signals that they're going to make sure those retail puts bleed out,
Perfect.
which I think will set up a move higher.
Yeah, this thing's so beat down. I mean, it was 60. This was $100. $100 stock. This was $113 in January last year.
Yeah, this was a winner
Jesus.
for us in the summer,
Yeah.
back when it was that $6 range. So
Yeah,
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 I
yeah.
like it.
Perfect. Six Flags. 2107. Only line on my chart. It's pretty much your volume profiles.
I like how you stay on these random tickers I bring into.
Oh, that's what we do here.
Yeah,
I mean, the more eyes is more eyes. We've got to be looking at them. So,
yeah. We caught this in SeaWorld at the same time months ago. All right, so 21. Yeah, I've got 2750 calls for January. 2024 leaps to 30 and 35, which actually were the highest volume contracts. So again, it kind of fits my thesis about 2024, 2025 leaps being optimistic, as kind of seeing the market get through some of this stuff by then, well before then, months before then. So yeah, I do like this setup.
perfect. Snap. Wait. Did I have? No, I lied. Snap. We did. SWN. 576. Previous winner. Energy. Big ass drop though. Like we fell off the cliff last 10 days.
Yeah, this actually is going to make it into my energy notes this afternoon. So so 5p is bullish, and that doesn't mean it's going to dip to 5, but that's kind of a good sign. If this were 550, I'd be all in. I think it might drop to 550, but range back to 7 on my end.
Should we wait a week or do it now?
I'm gonna wait a week. I'm expecting to return to a lot of oil stuff
Okay,
next week. So.
perfect. Feel late on this one, um, but I'm still. It's just kind of. It's still in the socials, so I'm kind of hesitant. But I just want your opinion on it, and if it's strong, um, make a decision on it. But Workday,
Yeah, I like Workday. So Workday had a really impressive report,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that happens, but sometimes you just get like a pop and fade. But the fact that it held 160,
yeah.
I thought
162.
was interesting. So I was so focused on snow that I was kind of watching this one, but didn't trade it. That's why I have some numbers in mind. Okay, so I have 170, 195 into January through March. So I think at minimum up here, a retest of that 180 breakout from the last rally seems plausible.
Yeah,
Really decent. The spread on the options is playable too, so that's always something I look for.
it just hit people that normally don't talk about real stocks. Um, so I wanted to look into that. I got 176 on the upper end, and then 162.21 is the top of my channel. That we're confirming that is why I had interest. Um, if it's A plus,
Yeah,
I say we add
they're
it.
solid. I mean, they're not going anywhere. They handle all the HR stuff for a bunch of big companies. They're huge in education. Half the colleges I've worked at have Workday. So,
Would you call it
um,
A plus on the flow? A
yeah,
A plus.
for options for sure
Okay,
because
let's
that
add it.
playing it to 180 is a nice move from here. So I like it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're a little late because of the ER part, but we should have played that range of it and played this from 155, 160 up to 170. Um, but
Yeah.
there's plenty left here, so uh, let's get on it. Last but not least, Yeti. That's a lie. I got two more for you. What did I have on Yeti here? Oh yeah, we're just confirming volume profile. Just kind of more wanted to check in around 45, see what your stuff is saying. Um,
Oh, I missed their earnings report.
yeah, did
Wow, that was a
theme
move.
theme.
Yeah, so I've got 52, 56C January. That's
Just
pretty nice.
yeah, this should continue.
I like it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And all right, the next two are just more of. Um, I think you brought up. I think you brought these two up. OKTA, and they're I like them better nows. I think this has range to 100, if not like 85. But I really think it's going to go back to 100.
And yeah, flow's being slow pulling up on this.
You're fine.
1 second.
And we're
So kind of similar to Workday, it had that pop on earnings and actually managed to hold on to those gains pretty well. So that's like kind of the first good sign. And then start to look at where they might want to take this. So I've got 120 80C
yeah,
stands
yeah,
out.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean it could be pretty smooth once we move into this gap
Yep.
off that previous earnings drop.
That's what I got. That's
So I'm with
exactly
it.
what I see.
Yeah.
Perfect. We got a theme going
Yeah.
here. We got a theme going here.
Yep.
Docu. Told you we had a theme going, Pete. I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
I'm out of my channel, but I got back to 57. Um, I really thought we were going to continue to head there. We pulled back on Friday a little bit, but we didn't. We still had a green day.
Yeah. So whales are definitely interested in Docu again. Really good example of stock where if you played earnings, you didn't do very well because the IV on the options was like 380% or something crazy. So the IV crush, even if you were at the money, you maybe made like 20%, and which is not the risk you're wanting to take for that. But after that, very good. And this, again, to me, is screaming 55 at me across
55.
all
Yeah.
expirations. So 55C very well could get back into that 60 to 64 range if it can keep some momentum here. So yeah, I like Docu.
We're real close on that. Yeah, I think you brought it up before ER and kind of said let's wait too. So it was
Yeah.
top of mind for me. I called it out after the ER the Open. I knew it had more Friday. I was like, just let it flush on the option side. I was like, well, let it flush in the morning and play it. I mean, it only flushed a pre-market low, but for the share side, that was a $6-7 trade or $5-6 trade. So um,
Yeah.
I think we have more days like that. Perfect,
No,
perfect.
right. I'm with you. And definite definite theme here of getting back into software. I called this midweek last week that
Yeah, yeah,
I thought that these SaaS stocks were looking good. So now what we're in the aftermath of that, where a lot of them made a nice move up, could very well pull back, but what you're looking for is just for them not to give it all back, but to show some strength, and then we go from there. And a lot of times, like you have to get through the Fed calendar stuff, and then it's like, okay, now we're going to see what these do. So I think for a lot of these, that's definitely possible.
yeah. I think
Let,
you're getting really really good at calling the reversals. So strategically, you're better off listening to you when you're calling downside if you're a bull trader because you're going to be early and let people know, myself included, that this is going to turn. Like this is where I see it turning, and you're getting really good at that. Like really really
yeah,
good at that. That you're
appreciate it.
catching the downside and then you're timing the flip perfect. And I don't know what else you want as a trader. Um,
Yeah, and I do. I try to let people know when it's like, okay, I'm done shorting this,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and then
Your timing's
and so
great.
that's happened with Coin several times, and Snow as well. So yeah.
You miss the move to the top side, like everybody, but you get
Mhm.
most of the downward move, and that's kind of what I'm trying to point out here. Is like you nail that reversal part for some reason. Like I think it's because you already have a target picked out, and you're looking for certain things when it gets to that
Yeah,
target, as opposed to worried about the target. So you're like, do I stay in at my target? I need these parameters to be met, and whatever that is, you're absolutely very skillful in it because they come through a lot. I mean
yeah, and it's a lot of it is the the Bears. They start to kind of decelerate their selling frenzy, right? And I could
yeah
just see them starting to
the
pump the brakes on
breaks
it.
yeah
And when they start um, selling the puts, and it's important too, where there's a difference between selling to close and selling to open.
yeah
And
yeah
the selling to open is the bullish thing. Selling to close is just like, I'm taking my profit from this put. But it's that sell to open part, and this is where that dude Snorlax is good to follow for that. But that's a key part of the flow too. Those new sold positions at strikes as it's declining, like that. That's kind of my first signal.
I like it. I like it. You got anything you want me to look at here? Talking shop.
Um, Let me see here. We've stayed away from those these micro pennies.
Yeah.
What and I'm going to continue to stay away from those. But what exactly do you think is going on there? Because I this is a part of the market that I've never seen. Because when I came into it, all of them were really, you couldn't find a stock under $1, and then that started to slow down, and then we saw the bottom drop out on all of these. But now that a lot of them, fell into like the 20 to 40 cent range, and they'll have these 40% days, and people will pile in. What mechanically is happening in the market when that's occurring?
So the nine, let's say the 9 to 20 centers, which 20 cents is probably a little high, but
Yeah,
those 9 to 20 centers, I really think the guys that are the pumpers, they're getting together on a couple of those, and it's
mm,
getting enough momentum that the pumpers come in, then the momentum traders are coming in. You're finally seeing that. Friday, I think we seen that with that AM because
yeah,
it had a news catalyst. So you had some people that were front loaded in it because it is such a smaller float. Then you had the momentum traders come in with the news. But I think they're instead of fighting like we seen kind of in the summer, those guys are coordinating a little more. And you seen it with Zach and laid back, right? Like probably September, August, like they were trying to do stuff together and it didn't work. I think they just
yeah.
figured that out. Um, but you've seen it with like the comms and I forgot the other one last week, but there was a good one last week that ran from like 9 to I want to say 16 or 17. Um, but yeah, it's just they have the volume to do it, which that's a for me this is a good sign, especially after the event on Thursday. Like those things, just everyone went to those. They were like, the market's gonna be shit. We can go pump these, and you totally seen that Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this I didn't even notice this one. AM, 1,000%.
Yeah. What was the one
And you
Maya
know what's funny is
was
that
on?
actually does have options, but they're completely unplayable when it's 50 cents because 250 is the lowest one. But like 5C on it went 1,400% in a day. So
Jeez.
crazy.
Yeah, and what was the other one? Maya was on one last week. It wasn't comms. There was another one. Um, but they're pushing like BRBX right now all together. Oh,
Mm.
VGFC. VGFC was the other one they all got on last week. Um, but
Yeah, yeah.
what they do is take like the one of the SEC documents and they just read it and they just look for language that's kind of confusing, like for dilution or buy like they're gonna buy shares backs or something. Just some information that they can say because I told you so. This is gonna go up, or they have money. It's worth more, and um, they're coordinated now. They it's Christmas.
Yeah.
They need money. Let's just put it that way.
Right, right.
Like it's got to that point. Like they're greedy fuckers, bro. So
Yeah, yeah.
I a long time ago, P, I told myself like just don't mention bad tickers, even to
Mhm.
say they're bad tickers, right? Just out of sight, out of mind. And I don't know if that's necessarily always been the right thing to do, but that's why I don't mention a lot of these things in chat. I see everything that's running 30. If it runs 20%, trust me, I see it. Um, but some of them
Yeah, yeah.
are you're just if you're not first, you're stupid. um,
Yeah, it's just higher probability setups. I mean, you're even with weekly options, a lot of times you're better off in X and BAC or something. A 20% move on those option contracts is more stable than 20% on some micro penny low float. So
yeah, it doesn't help
yeah,
your style at all. First of all, and you're kind of trading FOMO because you're trading the percentage that you think you're going to get. You're not trading a setup. You're not improving any skill. You're not finding a play that has a catalyst coming, right? You're purely like momentum trading, and which is fine. But I think these ones that 2 cents is 10% is playing with fire. I mean, you might as
yeah,
well go scalp OD. It's the ODTs of stocks.
yeah.
That I mean, that's how I look. Yeah, it's ODT stock. So mine are at 40 right now. Um, the better the market gets, the higher that goes. To be honest, it's at 40 because the market's so crap. It'd probably be closer to 70 in most cases, um, if the market wasn't as bad. Because I don't even want to really see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And like to me, if a stock has 50-cent options that people actually will buy, like Mullen does, then I'll pay attention for sure.
Yeah, Mullen was like a catalyst driven though, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
it, that's a little different story than someone just putting an S10 report up and saying because this says this, it's going to go up. I mean, it's stupid. But
yeah. People and
it
they
works.
fall to that.
Yeah, no, it works. Um,
Yeah,
perfect, perfect. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got today.
yeah, yeah. That's it for me too. So I'll have notes up, and I like the new hot stove format of getting some specific plans in there. It's working well.
I got IMAX and MSTR. If you have a third, just let me know or throw it in there. But I do like
Yeah,
those
it's
two.
probably going to be work day. I like to get a
Okay,
large cap in
okay, good find. I'm proud of myself on that one. Occasionally, I
there.
find a good one.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, have a great day, P, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.